This conference will now be recorded.
Java being simple and very easy to understand. Second one is Java is a high level language. Okay. So it has to be converted into the machine language, which is low level basically. Okay. Low level means it only understands zeros and ones. Okay. Right. So next we will talk about object oriented programming. What are you going to talk about next? Object oriented programming. So whenever I'm saying Java is an object oriented programming, so what I'm trying to say here, Java is a object oriented programming language. Okay, what is Java, sir? Java is a object oriented programming language. So whenever we talk about Java or any programming being object oriented, what is the meaning exactly? So the meaning is it has to be developed on the basis of class and object. It has to be developed on the basis of what? Class and object. Okay, so first of all, we'll try and understand what is this class, what is this object. But before that, we will write the statement. A programming language is said to be an OOP. A programming language is said to be an OOP when it is developed using the two basic concepts. Okay, so develop using two basic concepts of programming. Two basic concepts of programming. What are they? A class and an object. A class and an object. Okay, so what it is developed on the basis of class and object, developed on the basis of two things. What are the two things? Class and object. So there are other things that we'll support. We'll talk about them later. So what are the two things that we are talking about? We are talking about a class and an object. A class and an object. Okay. So now when I am saying class, so what is this class, sir? What is that you are going to talk about here? Now, for example, if I ask you a simple question, let's say, who are you? So what will be your answer? You will say, I am a student. I am a student. Yes or no? Now, if you ask me the same question, I will say, I am a trainer. Yes or no? So what is the student, trainer? So these are nothing but our categories. These are nothing but our categories. Getting my point? What are these? These are nothing but our categories. So category means, so to which category do we belong? We belong to a trainer. I belong to a trainer category. You belong to a student category. Now in program, that category is nothing but a class. Category is nothing but a class. In programming, what it will be? It will be a class. So category means a class. In programming, category means a class. Am I clear? Am I clear with my point? So whenever I'm talking about a program, I say that the component is developed using class. Class means it's a category. It belongs to something. It belongs to something. Okay, I'll give you a simple example. But before that, we will write class. A class is a logical entity that represents a category. That represent what? A category. A logical entity that represent a category. That represent a category. Yes? Okay. It is also known as a real world entity. It is also known as what? A real world entity. So it is also known as A real world entity. So a logical entity that represents a category. Point number one. What is point number two? It is also known as a real world entity. Real world entity. So whenever I'm talking about entity, entity means something. Entity means something which represents a person, which represent a place, which represent a thing, which represent an event, something like that. Am I clear? Am I clear with my words? Okay. So here an entity represents here an entity represents a person, a place, a thing, or an event. Okay, so a person, a place, a thing, or an event. So can you give me example for all this? Yes, I'll give. Okay, first of all, understand class is a logical entity. Class is what? A logical entity. Point number one. What is point number two? It is a real world entity. So in the real world, what you are looking at? So you are looking at some person, you are looking at some places, you are looking at some things, you are looking at some events. So all that you have to understand. Yes or no? Okay. Now let's say, okay, for example, consider an employee. Consider an employee. So who is employee here? Employee is a person. Employee. So I am an employee of this organization. Yes or no? I'm an employee of this organization. Consider an employee in a employee management system project. Employee management system project. Okay, who is employee here? In an employee management system project. So I'm developing a project. So that project is what? Employee management system project. So in that project, I will have many classes. I'll have many classes. Employee class, HR class. Okay. So clerk class. So what are all this? These are all the persons. These are all the persons. Consider an employee. So who is an employee now? Employee is a class. Employee is what? Employee is a class. Consider employee class. In which management system project? Employee management system project. Clear? Clear with the idea? What is employee understood now? Employee. Now, for example, if I am creating a student project, then who will be there? Student will be there. So they are logically available. They are not physical. Then what are the physical things, sir? Physical things are objects. Okay. How, sir? How physical things are objects? Let me tell you. The classes are responsible for the classes are responsible for creation of the objects. Employee Rahul is an employee, right? So who is Rahul here? Rahul is an object. Rahul is an object of employee class. Am I crystal clear? Yes or no? Am I clear or not? Okay. Now the classes are responsible for creating the objects. Yes. Clear or not? Okay. Now, when I am saying the classes, okay, so what are classes? They are responsible for creating the objects. Often, okay, I'll let the fourth point. The classes are referred as the classes are referred as the blueprints. The class are referred to as what? Blueprints for creating the objects. For creating the objects. Class are referred as what? Blueprints. Blueprints for what? Creating the object. It's a blueprint. It's a blueprint. It's a master copy. It's a master copy. The employee. So who is employee here? Employee is nothing but, okay. So employee is nothing but a class. Now I can create number of objects. Number of objects I can create. So for example, I'll say Rahul is an employee. Okay. Vikram is an employee. John is an employee. Okay. So Hussein is an employee. Is that clear? Now, what are these Rahul, Vikram, and all? These are nothing but the objects. These are nothing but the objects. Understanding my point? But without employee, can I create these objects? Employee is important. So if there is no student, just imagine if there was no student class. If there was no student class, just imagine if there was no student class, were you available? Because you are a student, no? If there is no trainer class, I would not have been available. Yes or no? Because I'm an object referring to that particular class. Am I crystal clear with my points? Yes or no? So what I'm talking about at the end of the day, we are talking about the classes. We're talking about the classes. So what are classes? Classes are the blueprints. Blueprints for what? Creating the objects. Blueprints for creating the objects. Yes or no? Okay. Now in Java. So now we need to talk about Java, right? Okay. Now one more example. So I told you person only now here. So is person employee, person employee. So what are other things there? Place is there. Okay. Thing is there. Event is there. Now, for example, if I want to tell you an example of a place, I will say bank. What is bank? Bank is a place. HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, okay, IDBI Bank, right? ABN AMRO Bank, Union Bank. What are all these? All these are the objects. All these are the objects of which class? Of the bank. Clear? Understood the points? Okay. Then things. Things like, for example, I am creating a laptop class. Now Dell laptop, Lenovo laptop, right? Acer laptop. So what we are talking about? We are talking about laptop objects. Now event means sales, marketing. What are all those? All those are nothing but events. So entities are nothing but persons, places, things, events. Persons means employee, student, and all this stuff. Place means bank, right? So you just can say school, right? So school is a place, college. So if you are creating a student application, so college, yes, all that will be there. Now sales, event, sales, fee, salary. So what are all these? All these are events. All these are events. Getting my point? Yes. So whenever you want to work with real world entities, the classes will be there for you. Am I crystal clear? Yes or no? Any doubts, any questions up to here? Paka? Okay. So that is what is meant by a class. Whenever we talk about a class, what we are going to talk about? We are going to talk about the logical entities. Logical. Why, sir? Why you are calling them logical? Are you able to see any student with the name student in your class? So student is just a representation. Student is just a representation. Yes or no? Student is just what? It's just a representation. So it just represents. It just represents. Is that clear? Am I crystal clear with my points or not? So what I'm talking about here, I'm talking about class. Class being a logical entity, and that logical entity is responsible for entity is responsible for creating the objects. What is a logical entity? It's a person, place, thing, event, anything as such. Clear or not? Done or not? So that is how we are dealing with the class. class and object. Of course, object we did not discuss. We'll discuss. Clear or not? Okay. Now, how to declare this class in Java? Okay, that is important now for us. So, how to declare this? Okay, in Java we have okay, in Java we have two types of classes. In Java we have two types of classes. What is the first one? Built-in classes. Built-in classes. Second one, user defined classes. What is the first one? Built-in classes. What is the second one? User defined classes. So whenever I am talking about built-in, built-in means it is already there, already existing. Yes, already existing, built-in. Now this projector is built-in. This projector is built-in. So I'm not going to take that projector to all the rooms and all. So projector is built-in, AC built-in. So built-in. Is that clear? Now if I'm getting a projector, uh, a portable projector, then that is not built-in. That is user-defined. Something like that. Is that clear? So built-in classes. So built-in classes means the classes that are already available, in the program, in the Java program environment. The Java program environment. The Java program environment. Okay. So the classes that are already available in the Java program environment and and can be used, can be can be used by the programmer. How to use and all I'll tell you later. Yes, by the programmer. Understanding my point? The classes that are already available in the Java program environment and can be reused. Okay, so used and reused. Okay, so used and reused. Okay, so it can be used, it can be reused basically. Okay, understanding my point? The classes that are already available in the Java program environment and can be used by the programmer depending on the situation. So if the situation comes, he will use it. Is that clear? Yes. Okay. Now coming back, the classes that are already available in the Java program environment and can be used by the programmer. Right. Now, second one is what? User defined. Okay. So now I will give an example. Right. Scanner class. Which class? Scanner class. Which is used for taking the inputs. Which is used for taking the inputs from the console. Okay, what is it and all? How to use? I'll tell you later. Scanner class is available. Yes or no? So many classes are available. So one of the classes I told you because this class we are going to use. Is this crystal clear? Yes. Okay. Now user defined classes. So whenever I'm talking about user defined class, the classes that are to be created by the user or by the programmer and can be used and reused in the project. Reused in the project. So in this project, you can use and reuse those classes. Is this clear? Yes? Okay. Then how we will create, sir, this one? So he will create syntax. So syntax means the way that he creates. He uses class. Basically, class is a keyword. Class followed by the class name, and you need to put a block. Class is a block actually. Class is what? Class is a block. So here you will have the data and you will have the methods. For now, don't worry about the data and the methods. We will talk about that later. So how he uses it? Class followed by the class name. Okay. So class followed by the class name. Is this clear? Yes? Okay. Now, whenever he creates a class, there is no rule that it should be capital, but there is a convention. There is a convention. So, what is the convention, sir? I'll tell you. Now, for example, now I want to create an employee class. I want to create which class? Class. E should be capital. E should be capital. It is not must. It is not must, but it is always better to have the first letter as capital. First letter as capital. Okay. Now, for example, I want to create one more class. Let's say I want to create a class called, okay, laptop sales. I want to create a class called laptop sales. I will say laptop sales. So here what I'm doing? Here what I'm doing? L capital, S capital, L capital, S capital, L capital, S capital. Yes, if I'm using two words, first word first letter capital, second word first letter capital. Suppose if you are using three words, now tell me, laptop sales India. Again, I capital. Understanding? So it is not a rule, but it's a convention. Convention means if you follow, it's better. So it's not a rule. So understand that point. Yes. So class laptop L capital, sales S capital, India I capital. Understanding? Is this clear? If you are using four words, first word, second word, third word, fourth word, first letter capital, all small. Is this clear? So what class will contain? Data, methods, and other things. We will talk about that later. Is this clear now? How to create a class, you understood? So your journey always starts with a class only. Your programming journey always starts with class only. So you have to create classes daily, compulsory. Compulsory, you need to create the classes. If you are not creating the classes, you cannot write a program. Yes, is the point clear? So here you will not be creating employee laptop sales, this kind of thing, but in real time, you will be working with that real time projects means what? College projects, school projects, that is like training purpose, college project, school project. But when you go to real time working, bank project, okay, so you will have something like sales projects. So you'll be working with so many real time things. Okay, so in the real time things, you need to use the real world objects. Am I clear? Up to now, I'm clear or not? So, what is the class entirely understood now? So, what is the class? Class is a logical entity. Class is a logical entity. So, whenever I'm saying logical, logical means it is not available physically. Yes, but it is a base for creating the physical things. What are the physical things? Objects. What are the physical things? objects. Am I clear? Am I clear with the things or not? So whatever you want to create, you have to use this class followed by the class name, right? Okay. Now this is all about the classes. Now coming to the next discussion, which is object. Then what is object? Object is a physical entity. What is object? Object is a physical entity. Object is what? It's a physical entity. Object is a physical entity, physically existing. Object is what? Physically existing. So physically existing means it is a physical object. It is a physical object which is physically available. Physically available. Now says you are a student. You are physically available, no? You acquire some memory. You acquire some memory. Okay. Object is a physical entity that acquires some memory in the program. That acquires some memory in the program. Am I clear? Yes or no? What is object? You understood now? Object is a physical entity, so which will acquire some memory in the program. Clear or not? Yes or no? Okay. So when I am talking about the object, you call it as the physical entity. Okay. An object is the instance of the class. An object is the instance of the class. Instance means it's a uh, what can I say in Telugu? If you say amsham, so it's a amsha. It's an amsh of the class. Means it belongs to that class. It belongs to that particular class. An object is the instance of the class. Clear? Yes or no? What is an object? Object is the instance of the class. Points are clear? Yes? Okay. Now, an object, an object can access the data and the methods. An object can access the data and the methods declared inside the class. Declared inside the class. An object can access the data and the methods declared inside the class. Whatever things are there declared inside the class, an object will be able to access that data. So how to access that data, methods and all, we'll talk about. Yes, am I clear? So object is a physical entity which is the instance of the class. If class is not there, object cannot be created. Getting my point? So if class is there, then only we can create the object. Otherwise, we cannot create the object. Yes. So how can we create the object? When class is there. Class is there. Okay. Now, syntax. So syntax for creating the object is class name. Okay. Object variable. Object variable is equal to new class name followed by the bracket. Now, who is the object here exactly? This is the object. This is the object. So, you are creating the object in this way in Java, right? Okay. Now, what is this? This is the storage location. So, this is the storage location or the storage location of object. See, if you say this also object, no problem. But exactly who is the object? This is the object. This is the object. Is that clear? Yes? Okay. Now, for example, employee E1. is equal to new employee. Understanding? So like this, how many objects I can create? I can create n number of objects. I can create n number of objects. Am I clear? E2, E3, right? All this like this. Yes. So how many objects I can create? I can create many objects. So we will see where to create, how to create and all later. So for now, only thing you have to understand is what is class, how it is created, what is object, how it is created. So these are the things you need to remember. Yes. Am I crystal clear with class and object? So without class, without object, there is no Java program. There is no Java program. So if at all a Java program is there means Java program is there because of class and object. Class and object. Understanding? So whenever I'm saying class, class is a logical entity. And what about object? Object is a physical entity. So class is a logical entity which is the blueprint of the object, which is the blueprint of the object. I mean blueprint of the blueprint which is able to create the objects. Yes. Then what about object? It is the instance of the class. So without class, I cannot create the object. So there is no object in this world without a class. Okay. Now, for example, you see this. This belongs to monitor category. This belongs to speaker category. This belongs to phone category. These two objects belong to remote category. Remote is the category of them. Yes or no? So your bag, my bag, all these are bags, bag category. Bag is a class. Class will be one. Objects will be many. Is this clear? Okay. In addition to the class and object, in addition to the class and object, an OOP is also OOP also also follows the below principles. Also follow the below principles. What are they? First one is inheritance. What is the first one? Inheritance. Very good. So polymorphism, data abstraction, and encapsulation. Okay, inheritance, polymorphism, data abstraction, and encapsulation. So these are the four things in addition to class and object. So if class and object are not there, we are not going to look at this. Is this clear? So if a class and object are available, then only there is a meaning for this. If the class and object are not available, so these don't have any meaning. So class object along with them, your programming should also follow these four principles. Then only it will be called as what? Object oriented programming. So otherwise we won't call it as object oriented program. Is that clear? Yes or no? So whenever I am talking about object-oriented programming, what we need to see, we need to see class is there, object is there, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. So Java is strong. So Python is not that much strong in OOP. Java is very much strong in OOP. Okay, so we will come to know about all these things later. Okay, so for now, understanding of class, object, how it is created, how it is executed, and all that is required. Is that understood? Yes. Okay. So what we will do is, so we will write a simple program for printing hello world. Okay. So and we will print the object also. We'll print the object also. We will create the object. We'll print that object also. Okay. Right. So program for printing hello Java and the object. Okay, so program for printing hello Java and the object. So what I told you, everything must be created under the class. So object you have to create means class should be there, no? Okay. Now I will say class one. Okay. So class one, and always remember whenever you are writing a class, so what should be there inside? Data and method should be there. But here I'll not add any data. I'll just put one method which is called as the main method, because program execution will start from main method only. Will start from which method? Main method. So for now, I'll just write. You just remember those things. We will understand each and every term later. Yes. Okay. I will say public static void main string args. So what I told you, I want to create an object. Okay, how to create the object? Just now I told you. One O is equal to new one. Now what is created? Object is created. What is created? Object is created. Now what I have to say? I have to print. For printing, always use system.out.println. So I'll tell you what exactly system.out.println and all. Okay, so for now understand that system is a class. Println is a method of the system class. So out is a standard output stream. So we use system.out.println. What we are printing here? We are printing O. Who is O? O is nothing but the object variable, you can say. Object if you say, no problem. But exactly it is just a placeholder. It is holding the object. That's it. Who is O? O is holding the object. So that's the main thing. You can call O as object, no problem, but it is not recommended to call O as object. O is a variable. O is a variable. Okay. Now what I told you, we will print hello. Uh, okay. So what I have printed here? I have printed hello Java and I have printed the object. Later on, I'll show you how the execution and all. So we need to install the software. So tomorrow you get your laptops. So if at all software is not installed, I'll make it install for you. And we'll also install Eclipse. Okay, Eclipse also I'll make you install. So tomorrow, ఏంటి ఏది నీకేం అర్థమైంది చెప్పు ఫస్ట్. నీకు ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడ ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఏం అర్థమైంది? ఫస్ట్ నీకేం అర్థమైంది చెప్పు, అక్కడ నుంచి నేను చెప్తాను. క్లాస్ ఎందుకు క్రియేట్ చేయాలి? ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి. వెరీ గుడ్. క్లాస్ క్రియేట్ చేయకపోతే ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ క్రియేట్ అవుతాయా? అవ్వవు. వెరీ గుడ్. ఓకే. మన ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఏంటి? ఒకసారి మన ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఏంటి? హలో వరల్డ్ని ఆబ్జెక్ట్ని ప్రింట్ చేయాలి. మనము ఏ పని చేయాలి అన్నా, జావాలో ఏ పని చేయాలి అన్నా ఇనిషియల్గా మనము పబ్లిక్ స్టాటిక్ వాయిడ్ మెయిన్లో రాస్తాం. నేను పబ్లిక్ గురించి స్టాటిక్ గురించి వాటి గురించి ఏమి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయలేదు, జస్ట్ ఆ లైన్ రాసిన అంతే. ఎందుకంటే అది ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయాలని కొంచెం నాలెడ్జ్ కావాలి. సో ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ రైటింగ్. క్లాస్ తెలుసు మీకు ఎట్లా తయారు చేయాలి. క్లాస్ ఎట్లా తయారు చేయాలి? క్లాస్ 1, 2 సంథింగ్. సో దాని లోపల మీరు ఏం చేయాలన్నా దేంట్లో పెట్టాలి? పబ్లిక్ స్టాటిక్ వాయిడ్ మెయిన్ స్ట్రింగ్ args. సో ఇది ఎగ్జాక్ట్ రిటర్న్ రాయాలన్నమాట. రైట్? అలా రాసి లోపల ఏం చేస్తున్నాము? క్రియేటింగ్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్. ఇది నేనేం ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయలేదు, ఇది జస్ట్ రాసిన అంతే. అది నేనేం ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయలేదు, ఎందుకంటే తర్వాత ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాను. పబ్లిక్ అంటే ఏంటి, స్టాటిక్ అంటే ఏంటి, స్ట్రింగ్ అంటే ఏంటి, వాయిడ్ ఏంటి, మెయిన్ ఏంటి, ఇవన్నీ తర్వాత. సో ప్రస్తుతానికి మీకు తెలియాల్సింది ఏంటంటే మెయిన్ అనేది ఒక మెథడ్. మెథడ్ ఎందుకు అంటే మెయిన్ మెథడ్ ఈజ్ ద స్టార్టింగ్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్. నీ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ మెయిన్ మెథడ్ నుంచే స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ ఎక్కడ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది? మెయిన్ మెథడ్ నుంచే స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో నేను చేయాల్సింది ఏంటి? ప్రింటింగ్ హెలో వరల్డ్, ఐ మీన్ హెలో జావా అండ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్. సో ఆ ప్రింటింగ్ హెలో వరల్డ్ని, ప్రింటింగ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ని ఎందులో చేయాలి? మెయిన్లోనే చేయాలి. ఎందులో చేయాలి? నువ్వు ఏ యాక్టివిటీ చేయాలన్నా ఎందులో చేయాలి? మెయిన్లోనే చేయాలి. ఆ మెయిన్ ఎలా రాయాలి? పబ్లిక్ స్టాటిక్ వాయిడ్ మెయిన్ స్ట్రింగ్ ఏఆర్జిఎస్. అది ఎందుకు రాయాలి సార్? ఒక్కొక్క దాని మీనింగ్ ఏంటి తర్వాత, ప్రస్తుతానికి అవసరం లేదు. ఎస్, ప్రస్తుతం బిర్యానీ తిందాం. బిర్యానీ ఎట్లా చేయాలో తర్వాత నేర్చుకుందాం. ఎస్, ఫస్ట్ తినడం ఇంపార్టెంట్. వన్ ఈజ్ ద క్లాస్ నేమ్, ఓ ఈజ్ ద ప్లేస్ హోల్డర్. ఇప్పుడు నీ సీట్ లాగా. ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్, నీ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ నువ్వనే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఒక సీట్ మీద కూర్చున్నావు. సో ఈ ఓ అనేది సీట్ లాగా అనమాట. ఇట్స్ లైక్ ఏ చైర్. ఇట్స్ లైక్ ఏ చైర్. సో ఆ చైర్ ఏం చేస్తుంది? ఇట్ ఈస్ హోల్డింగ్ యూ. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ హోల్డింగ్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్. ఓ అనేది ఇట్స్ ఎ ప్లేస్ హోల్డర్. ఇట్ ఈస్ హోల్డింగ్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్. ఇట్ ఈస్ హోల్డింగ్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ని హోల్డ్ చేస్తుంది. ఎవరు? ఓ. హోల్డ్ చేస్తుంది కాబట్టి దాని ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అన్న తప్పు లేదు, కానీ ఇట్ ఈస్ జస్ట్ ఎ ప్లేస్ హోల్డర్. ఆ ప్లేస్ హోల్డర్ని మనము ప్రోగ్రామటికల్ టర్మ్స్లో వేరియబుల్ అంటాం. ఏమంటాము? వేరియబుల్. సో వేరియబుల్, హూ ఇస్ వేరియబుల్? ఓ ఈజ్ ఏ వేరియబుల్. వేరియబుల్ మీన్స్ విచ్ విల్ హోల్డ్ సంథింగ్. సో ఈ కేసులో ఏం హోల్డ్ చేస్తుంది? న్యూ వన్. వన్ అనే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ని హోల్డ్ చేస్తుంది. ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలంటే మనం ఏం యూజ్ చేయాలి? న్యూ అనేది యూజ్ చేయాలి. న్యూ సింటాక్స్. న్యూ అంటే కొత్త ఆబ్జెక్ట్. ప్రస్తుతానికి అట్లా అర్థం చేసుకోండి. న్యూ ఆబ్జెక్ట్, వన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్. సో వన్ అనే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కావాలంటే నేను ఏం చేయాలి? న్యూ వన్ అనాలి. ఇట్స్ ఎ న్యూ ఆబ్జెక్ట్. క్లియర్ అన్న? సిస్టమ్ డాట్ అవుట్ డాట్ ప్రింట్ ఎందుకంటే నేను ఏం ప్రింట్ చేయాలి? హెలో జావా ప్రింట్ చేయాలి, ఆబ్జెక్ట్ని ప్రింట్ చేయాలి. సో ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ప్రింట్ చేయాలంటే నేను ఇదైనా రాసుకోవచ్చు, ఇదైనా రాసుకోవచ్చు. సిస్టమ్ అనేది బిల్ట్ ఇన్ క్లాస్. దీని యాక్టివిటీ ఏంటి అంటే ఇట్ విల్ డూ ప్రింటింగ్. ఏంటది? సిస్టమ్ డాట్ అవుట్ డాట్ ప్రింట్ఎల్ఎన్ అనేది ప్రింట్ చేస్తుంది అనమాట. ఎవరినైనా ప్రింట్ చేయడానికి మనం వాడేది సిస్టమ్ డాట్ అవుట్ డాట్ ప్రింట్ఎల్ఎన్. పబ్లిక్ స్టాటిక్ వాయిడ్ మెయిన్ ఎందుకు యూజ్ చేస్తాం? ఏదైనా రాయడానికి, మనం ఏ కోడ్ అయినా రాయాలన్నా పబ్లిక్ స్టాటిక్ వాయిడ్ మెయిన్ లోనే రాయాలి. రైట్? సిస్టమ్ డాట్ అవుట్ డాట్ ప్రింట్ఎల్ఎన్ ఎందుకు యూజ్ చేస్తాం? ఏదైనా ప్రింట్ చేయడానికి యూజ్ చేస్తాం. క్లియర్? అది క్లియర్ నా? సో సిస్టమ్ డాట్ అవుట్ డాట్ ప్రింట్ఎల్ఎన్ దేనికి వాడతాము? ఏదైనా ప్రింట్ చేయాలి, ప్రస్తుతానికి బట్టి అంతే. తర్వాత సిస్టమ్ అంటే ఏంటి, అవుట్ అంటే ఏంటి, ప్రింట్ఎల్ఎన్ అంటే ఏంటి, క్లారిటీ ఇస్తాను నేను. ఎస్, ప్రింట్ఎల్ఎన్ ఈజ్ ఎ మెథడ్. Method will do some activity. Println is a method will do some activity. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక మెథడ్ని, సో నా పని ఏంటి? ట్రైనింగ్ ఇవ్వడం. ప్రింట్ఎల్ఎన్ ఒక మెథడ్, దాని పని ఏంటి? ప్రింట్ చేయడం. మరి ఆ ప్రింట్ఎల్ఎన్ ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది? సిస్టంలో ఉంటుంది. సో దాన్ని సిస్టమ్ నుంచి లాక్కుంటాం. అర్థమైందా? ఈజ్ దిస్ క్లియర్? సో ఇక్కడ మీకు 3 థింగ్స్ అర్థం కావాలి. ఫస్ట్ థింగ్, క్లాస్ ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నాం. సెకండ్ థింగ్, మెయిన్ అంటే ఏంటి. ఓకే, సో తర్వాత ఎలా ప్రింట్ చేయాలి. ఎందుకంటే ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ప్రతిసారి ఇప్పుడేం క్రియేట్ చేయం, మెల్లిమెల్లిగా తర్వాత క్రియేట్ చేస్తాం. మీకు 3 థింగ్స్ ఏం తెలియాలి ఇంపార్టెంట్? క్లాస్ ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేయాలి, మెయిన్ మెథడ్ రాయాలి, అండ్ ప్రింట్ స్టేట్మెంట్, సిస్టమ్ డాట్ అవుట్ డాట్ ప్రింట్. ప్రస్తుతానికి ఈ 3 మోర్ దెన్ ఎనఫ్. క్లియర్? అండర్స్టాండింగ్ మై పాయింట్స్? ఎస్ ఆర్? ఓకే. సో ఇది మన ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అండ్ క్లాస్. సో ఈ కంప్లీట్ థింగ్ ని మనం ఏమంటాము? ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఓరియంటెడ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ అంటే ఏంటి? ఏ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ విచ్ ఈస్ సెట్ టు బి ఓపి when it is developed on the two basic concepts. ఏంటవి? క్లాస్ అండ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్. సరే, ఇప్పుడు మీకోసం ఒక చిన్న 2 టాస్క్స్ ఇస్తాను. ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఫర్ creating the below objects. Okay, నేను జస్ట్ ఐడియా ఇస్తున్నాను, మీరు ఎట్లా రాస్తారు అనేది మీరు రాయాలి. ఎంప్లాయీ ఆబ్జెక్ట్, స్టూడెంట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్, క్రియేట్ అండ్ డిస్ప్లే. నేమింగ్ కన్వెన్షన్స్ మీరు వాడుకోవాలి. ల్యాప్టాప్, బ్యాంక్, సేల్స్, ఇవన్నీ ఎట్లా క్రియేట్ చేస్తారో చేయండి.